I'm sorry, French American Chamber of Commerce, Midwest, Chicago. So we're very excited to have you all here. Thank you, Delphine, for working with me here at the Alliance, because we have, over the last few years, we've started incorporating sport. So when Delphine came to me and said, we would love to hold this conference here at the Alliance, I thought, oh, well, it's perfect, because sport is certainly something we're building. Just last week we held an Olympic viewing party, which some of you were there. It was great fun. And we started a few years ago with the World Cup. So that was exciting. We did some documentaries, and we'll be doing some more again this summer. So we'll keep you all posted. We hope to work together again on that. And then what else, Delphine? We worked around the Roland Garros. We had a documentary last year, so we hope to do more again this year. So we're definitely working on sport. This is perfect. We welcome you all here this evening. I was given 16 seconds. I think I've gone over it. Oh, okay. I guess.
Yep.
Okay, so I would like to introduce Stephanie Burdock, Executive Director of the FACC. Merci.
18 seconds, so I will try to do it faster. So just to tell you that, we decided this year at the Chamber of Commerce to have sports as a guiding theme. So with 3 pillars. The first pillar is mostly in partnership with the Alliance Française to organize a viewing party of big events, and this is a big year for sport this year. The second pillar is to have a set of conferences, as we have tonight, to use sport as an inspiration for business and to better understand this sector. And the third pillar is a new one as well, and something that I wanted to mention tonight, because we will take part in a sports challenge organized by our head of network of French International Chamber of Commerce, because we have more than 100 chapters in the world of CCIFE, and every year in April they organize a sports challenge. So this year Chicago has decided to take part of it. So when I say Chicago, I mean you, as members of the Chamber of Commerce, you will be part of the challenge. So the objective is to set up teams of 5 people, and every day during a month in April, through an app, there will be some daily challenge you could take part in. And what's fun about it is last year there were 2,500 people around the world taking part in the challenges. And so you can organize your team by a company. So for example, BMO Chicago can compete against BMO Singapore or BMO Milan. You can organize by a club as well. So for example, Laurent Chevreau with the small and medium business club can set up a team to compete against another club of the chamber. Or just with French, just in the spirit of building our community. So information are already on our website. So it's really easy to build your team and to set up. And in March we will do a quick webinar to explain how to jump on it. And actually during the viewing party last week, we were reminded of the Olympics value of excellence, friendship and respect. And it resonated a lot for me actually, because I think for Chamber of Commerce it's a nice way to also try to embody this value. So that's why we love sports so much. And I'm delighted to have our guest tonight. So Pierre from Business France will start showing us the kind of landscape of sport in the US, because I think when you're French it's a kind of cultural shock to discover the power of sport here in the US, and it will be interesting to have the key figures of this industry. And then I'm really delighted to have Jean-Pierre from Marketing Movers, who will moderate the talk with Michel from Gerflor, because since I joined the American Chamber of Commerce, I have been amazed by the Gerflor story, and I'm sure you will never walk anywhere after this conference not challenging yourself on, okay, what is this floor experience, and it's quite fascinating. So I'm really delighted he accepted to share the inspiring story of the company.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much for being there, and I give the mic to Claire. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad to be with you tonight. So I'm Pierre. I'm part of Business France. We're the commercial services of the embassy here, the French embassy in the US, and the head of the Chicago office. It's really exciting to be with you, because I get to talk about, you know, many different industries. I think sports get us together, and that's a, you know, a nicer industry to talk about. But first of all, I'd like to commend Stéphanie's leadership at the French Chamber of Commerce. It's really a great organization. We have a great relationship, and I really wanted to point out her great leadership. And I'll be quick because we have Gerflor, and Michel is the main event. I had a chance to visit the factory, and it's actually astonishing. So just 5 or 4 slides, very quick, you know, brief overview of the sports market in the US. The first one is just figures. So if you add up all the figures out there on the right side, left side for you, it equates to about $300 billion in sales. So that's the size of the market. To give you a sense of scale, I asked, you know, AI assistants. So that's about the US meat market. So that's the size of the sports business. And if you look a little bit in more details, you will see that 250 billion of it is actually merch. It's not the sports itself. It's what goes around, you know, the sports. There's apparel, of course, the footwear, and the goods. So I think that's a big, you know, thing to keep in mind for how brands and companies can address that market. It's not just the events themselves. And of course, when we're talking about sports in the US, it's the big 4 plus the 5th one. So baseball, football, I'm French, so don't, but I think it's true. Basketball, hockey, and soccer, which is getting bigger and bigger. Now, and NFL is number 1, you know. 3 out of 4 Americans actively follow sports, I think. Most of them still follow the NFL. Next slide. So I think that's actually, that might be the most interesting slide. So I'll go on the side a little bit. Sports is a very dynamic market in the US, and the trends are deep, and they reach, you know, every aspect of the business. You know, it can be infrastructure, it can be tech, it can be retail. The biggest trend that we see, and the way we talk to French companies that want to make a French entry, are these ones. So tech and AI on every aspect of sport, you know, from the field to the app that you use, this is a big opportunity. And I would say this is one of the trends where companies can make the biggest impact today, because it's moving very fast, and even a small company can bring in, you know, a lot of value. We're talking about, you know, getting trackers on the back of players to get data on, you know, how to perform on the field. It can be, you know, on the audience side, there's a vast opportunity there. Women's sport is a big one too. Of course, this is quite unique to the US. I hope that spreads globally, but women's sport is a big opportunity here. Betting and regulation, of course. I think that you've seen that on the ads and the news, and it goes really fast. And the smart venue, which talks a little bit to the tech. The venues in the US are, if you had a chance to visit, you know, a site, it's very tech intensive, much more so than what we know in Europe or the rest of the world. So that's the trends and the opportunities. And I'll stop here for the broad overview of the market. Of course, sports are events, and there are recurring events by size, more or less. In the US, I'm not going to go through all of them. Maybe the third bullet point, when you see NCAA, that's the college sports, you'd know a thing or two about it.
Oui.
I imagine.
We are the partner of NCAA, so yes.
So March Madness, you know, all the college sports, which is a big opportunity. But you know, it was not part of the big one. But golf, Formula One, tennis, marathon, sports is a vast market. And of course, exceptional opportunities. That's for now. We're working a lot on the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the LA Olympics. The opportunity is today. The FIFA, you know, might be a little late now, but certainly this is now the time to try to get into these markets. And maybe we can skip over a few slides. I'm sure I'm taking too much time, so we can skip this one. Maybe we'll finish with this one. So what we're trying to do, I think when companies try to make an entry in the sports market in the US, there's maybe 4 things we try to help them with. The first one is information. The market is quite opaque. It's an insider's market, big player that have a lot of power, quite fragmentation. So information is key. Sharing information is key. So we're trying to do that through that club. Head of companies can share, if there's a new bid, so the other one can get the information. So those kind of things. We make a lot of market research, networking. The FSCC is organizing that event. I think for the sports market, a lot is face-to-face and trying to know who you can partner with. So of course that's a big one. Direct opportunities is another thing that we do. And the last one is promotion of companies. So I'm not going to go into too much details. That was just a short presentation, but thank you very much. That's it for the overview, and I think that's for you now.
Merci, Pierre. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Great to see both some familiar faces as well as some new faces. So everybody be welcome. I think what we're going to do right now is just cue the video, and then we'll come back.
Great performance begins long before this moment. Sometimes it starts with a cry, or in the backyard shooting hoops, in the classroom where imagination and inspiration take root, on the dance floor, perfecting every move, or in the garage, fine-tuning a future journey. For Gerflor, it began 80 years ago. With bold ideas and a deep desire to improve lives through innovative specialty flooring made for movement, purpose, and performance. And great performance takes passion and dedication, focusing on something greater than yourself, practicing until you nail it, constantly pursuing excellence. Our ongoing pursuit has led to a growing North American family of all-star brands with solutions for businesses and consumers, keeping step with great performers of all kinds. Because great performance isn't just about what we achieve alone, it's about showing up for each other, protecting what matters, and knowing that every step forward is safe, purpose-driven, and supported by a team that cares as much about people as they do about the floors beneath them. Great performance starts here. Gerflor, North America.
Merci. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Ah, tu veux parler d'abord? Yes,
Is
you
that
have to
okay?
speak first.
I am delighted to introduce Michel Rochard, who's the sports director at Gerflor USA.
Yes.
Michel, thank you so much for being here. You know how they say typically you're not supposed to, when you've seen a good movie and you're talking about it to your friends, you're not supposed to say it's great because it kind of generally defeats the purpose. But in this case,
Yes, it's
I'm
great.
going to side with both Stéphanie and Pierre because I know what's coming from you is going to be great.
No pressure.
No pressure,
Thank
at
you.
all,
Thank
none
you.
whatsoever.
But first, thank you for your welcome. I'm very happy to be here. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I am a member of CCE also. So definitely to work with you guys, French Association. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Michel Rochard. I'm working in Gerflor. I started in Taraflex in 1989. It was my first season, my first period. At this time, Taraflex was Taraflex. It was not part of Gerflor. I left the company in 2000 and I went to the competitors. So it was nice with my family to travel a little bit in Belgium, in Germany, in Italy. And I see the rest of the competitors, the rest of the product, but always sport floorings, indoor sport floorings, not outdoor, indoor sport floorings. It's a small world, but it is a big world at the same time. After to see all the competitors, I said, I have to come back in Gerflor. One of my dreams with my family also was to come in USA, so I come back in 2012 in Gerflor, but Gerflor USA. So the video you saw is about Gerflor North America. Gerflor North America was 13 years ago only $15 million, 1.5. and the end of last year is $400 million. So in 12 years, 13 years, you see the growing. So of course we have a lot of external growing, but also some organic growing. The US market is wonderful. Pierre mentioned that about sport. When you go to the pub in USA, you see 80 screen only about sport. Definitely, when you speak about sport, you are in the right country. They have a lot of money, different organization, professional, college, and when you have some opportunity to develop some segment, it's not a small segment, it's a beginning also a lot of low volume. It's not only, it's always interesting. So I gave you some figures concerning Gerflor USA, but the group Gerflor is 1.6 billion. Gerflor is a producer. Everything what you are selling, we produce it. We don't have any middleman. We know what you are selling. We know the experience. We know exactly what you are doing. Starflex was starting in 1947. We have some Mipolem product. Mipolem product was a German company which was bought by Gerflor also 20 years ago. They started in 1937. So imagine the story about flooring. Flooring is boring. No, it's not boring. It's very interesting. And in USA, by the way, Taraflex and Mipolem are well known because both companies, the German one, the French one, we start to sell our materials in the 80s, 90s. So the group Gerflor, 1.6 billion, 20 factories in the world, 7,000 employees.
Where did it start and when?
Gerflor is a mix of different companies. The group, it was beginning of the 2000, but it was the merge of Taraflex, Gerflex, different companies. It started like this. It's a French group. The headquarters is in Lyon. You see, we belong to the private equity, Belgium equity, but we get a lot of money to push the external growing. So that's why we are very aggressive and nice strategy. The key point about Gerflor, premium product, premium quality. That means we cannot, the negative part of that when some premium quality product, that means we have to explain the differentiation. So if we need to explain the differentiation, we need some people to explain the differentiation to the customers. It costs a lot of money. But when you make the effort to do that, after that, you take market share, you manage the price. So it's a big success, not only about volume, but also about margin. It works.
So you threw out a couple numbers that I would just want to go back to. One is 15 million, 1.5, and the other one is 400 million. And that's the revenue, the annual revenue for what it was 12 years ago to what it is today. I think, but you'll let me know if that's a correct assumption, that a big reason for that is innovation.
Yes.
And I'd like you to speak to how that is so much part of the DNA of the company.
Innovation is the key. If we want to make some differentiation, we have to be different from the competitors. So Gerflor is 160 engineers. So definitely we push about innovation. All the product, if you check the product, we have thousands of products, but 70% of the materials are less than 3 years old. Could you imagine? Each year, the new product we develop to sell. And again, we have to explain the differentiation. So innovation is the key. And because we have this innovation, also we have to innovate about, in case of the USA, about the sales, the way of sales. So I ask about this board, so I can make a...
That's what it's there for.
Yes. So about, when you speak Gerflor, so is Gerflor. Here. We sell to the flooring contractor because it's a quite technical product. So that means we have some company, flooring contractor, will make the installation, glue the materials, heat welding, solder show. It's quite technical, but we cannot sell directly to the end user because they cannot install. So we have this flooring contractor here. And 100% of our sales go to the flooring contractor. If the flooring contractor go to the end user, sell the materials, make the installation, take some margin, good. So the end user. All the company in USA making flooring, sport floorings, are working only here. So that means when you have only as a contact for the producer, only with the flooring contractor, the feedback you have You are not good, you are too expensive, so it's not interesting. So we make the effort, Gerflor. Why you make the effort? Because we used to do that. We did that in Europe. We have a sales force, and we have the sales force to go to the customer with the customers. We start 10 years ago. It was Benjamin Bachmann who pushed that. I knew that also, so we pushed together. But it was a nightmare. Why it was a nightmare? Because this flooring contractor, which was partner, still some partners, they don't like that. You don't trust us? What happens? We want to take my market? Don't stop that. Give a better price. Spend money for nothing. Blah 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 blah. And so it was difficult. But after some years, to go to the end user. By the way, nobody visits this end user. Nobody. So they welcome us. They don't understand what you are doing. So we explain. It works very well. These people are not professional. They understood one or two criteria, one or two differences. So we have to understand in the front of this person what is important for them. Maintenance, okay. Taraflex, no wax for life. Safety, yes, we comply with the ISTM 2772. Class 3. Class 3 is better than Class 2. And that's it. Two criteria. So number 3, we forget it. But it works. And after that, when we convince the end user about the Taraflex, he come back to the flooring contractor. I want Taraflex. The flooring contractor respect you. You bring some business. And he said, I use the sales price of last month. No. We bring to you the project. So it's plus 20%. No. But you want the project or not? Yes, I want plus 20%. And that's it. That's it. It works like that. So it's a part of the innovation. Because our product has some innovation and some differentiation, we can explain that to the end user. The end user wants always a better quality. Come back to the flooring contractor. That's it.
So I love that example. Essentially what you showed us is the power of a push-pull, go-to-market approach. So whereas everybody essentially does the push, and the push is selling into, in your case, the flooring contractors, what you guys had the vision for 10, 12 years ago is to say, no, we actually need to get to the end user. We will be the ones pitching our products because we know better than the rest how to pitch our own stuff. And we can also get valuable feedback from the end users. So obviously you get a sale for your flooring contractor. They're happy. They have to work less to get to close the deal. Mm-hmm. But you also get valuable feedback back into your development system, so you can come up with more new innovation ideas.
Yes, definitely, yes. And one of the problem is we are in USA with American culture. We are the French company. So to translate that, the need we need for USA in France, the central about marketing, development of product, it was very difficult at the beginning. Because at the beginning, we are not so big. The biggest market was in Central, was in Europe. So when you ask something specifically to the USA, it doesn't work.
You didn't listen?
Yes, when you have some problem. For example, in USA, 80% of the sales, 90% of the sales is wood design. In Europe, 80% of the sales is solid colors. In Europe, we don't like when you copy, you know. Here in USA, they don't care, they want wood design. So we have some problem with the wood design. We come back to Central, said, we have some quality problem here. And the answer was, but you are the only one customer, the only one country, we have some problem with wood. But 90% of the sale is wood. That's why we have some problem. We can see the problem. And so this was part of the challenge to try to put Central on a support for the US market.
Michel, could you talk to us about something that I think sets apart the US operations from the rest of Gerflor, which is the importance of sports in your business? So can you help us maybe understand and compare the two?
So when you speak about US business, 80% of the US business is sport.
80% of your sales are sports.
Yes. Okay. If you take the rest of the world, 10% is sport, 90% is commercial product. What does that mean, commercial product? Commercial product is not residential. Residential is a low quality, is not good for us. Commercial is all the product we sell in hospital, in education, and so on. And we have the sport. Sport is a part also of commercial.
When you and I met and did this little rehearsal, because guess what, we didn't just show up and invented this, but I remember you telling me, and I was very surprised, and it felt like it was a big learning for me, how much innovation goes, for example, into a hospital floor?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy because so we have different products, but when you go to the hospitals, the request first, the maintenance is a key. So when you speak about vanilla product, we have some help, but we make so many technical things inside that technicity in this product. PR coating to be sure we can clean. Some foam, but not too thick, to have a good shock absorption between the different room and different floor. After that, you have to be careful about the indentation because the bed is so heavy, 200 kilos, that we have some indentation. If you have some indentation, you cannot push the different things.
Bacteria repellent?
So
Bacteria?
Also, it was the first things we put. It was innovation of Taraflex, of Gerflor. We have some antibacterial and antimicrobial product inside, so it stops that. And we use it, but it starts, by the way, with the sport. Because the sport, the people are so demanding about the quality, about different things. For example, when you speak about the volleyball, if you are very good about volleyball, we will see that later. The International Volleyball Federation come back to us, they said we have a problem with Taraflex, we have some burn functions when we slide on the materials. Okay, so we are working on it, and the engineer found the solution to decrease the temperature of the friction, and they put a PR coating. It works perfectly. And we discovered 6 months after that thanks to the PR coating, the cleaning was so easier. So the commercial product, hospital, education, take it. And there was a big innovation. So it was the beginning of the 90s, and Gerflor was the first manufacturer to develop this innovation. Now everybody has that. But to be number one about the innovation, that's the key. For us, it's very important. We don't care that the competition copy us. That's why we love it. But we have to be the first one. Image.
So we talked about two examples. So we talked about innovation in the context of healthcare hospitals. You grabbed the example about volleyball. I think you have another one, which is education. Maybe?
Yes, yeah.
Do you mind talking to the other one?
So education, but so it was a design one. So we introduced the wood design, which was a flop in Europe. And but we introduced in USA, and tack, it launched Taraflex. It was the beginning of the 90s, and USA, everything's about wood. Don't forget, the indoor sport, the first indoor sport in USA is basketball. Basketball, play on wood. So the wood, for them, when you speak a little bit about sport, is interesting. The problem of the wood is fragile. You cannot put the wood everywhere. And so when we go to high school, when we are a dedicated gym floor for the sport, first indoor sport, basket, so they take the wood. But if you go to the elementary school, middle school, where the gym floor is not only for the gym floor, it's a cafeteria. They put table and chairs, they cannot put wood. They choose Taraflex. And our core business, even today, our core business, 70% is elementary school in church. Church, the same thing. They make some weddings, they make some sport. They love the Taraflex. And again, 90% of the sale is wood design.
So educational churches is multi-purpose. You
Yes.
guys deliver there. Volleyball. You didn't mention pancakes, by the way. Pancakes?
Ah, yes. Yes. But we'll see maybe after the video.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll look at that. So I think you've proven how innovation is really part of the DNA of the
Yes.
organization. And you showed us that by giving us several examples of product innovation, which is what I think we generally would think of when we think about innovating in a company.
Yes.
But there's also innovation in, for example, your go-to-market
Yes.
approach, hence, the little
Yes. Yes. So I don't finish that.
schematic you
I
showed
don't
us.
finish that. I come back to it. All my competitors, all, including inside the group of Gerflor, because we have wood, they don't go to the end user. So they manage only the flooring contractor. But they have 1 or 2 flooring contractors per state, 50 states, 100%. So that means with 4 people, they manage USA. To make this effort, so far we have 40 employees, plus the sport partners sales force, plus some agent. So we go to 70 people. You see the difference? It costs a lot of money. But it works here. It works, it's wonderful.
How hard or not was it selling that idea into the organization? Because you guys were offering or proposing a very different way about developing the business.
So it was, by the way, it was quite easy because we didn't ask. When I started, when Benjamin arrived, both were sales guys, both with experience in Europe. So we knew that we are different. We knew that we have to explain this differentiation. And so even because at this time it was so small, okay, but we start to take 2, 3 employees, and we ask them to do that, to make the specification, and we know it start to work. So the goal after that was to increase the sales force to go more or less everywhere. By the way, 70 people is nothing for USA. Each day we found some new segments. So it was volleyball. Now we have the pickleball. The last event is event center. What is the event center? The event center is in the small for the USA, for a small city. We have some private company. They build a sport building, but it's not small. It's $65-70 million. It's more or less 14,000 square meters. It used to be only wood, but now it's wood and PVC, and third part is restaurant. What they do? They organize competition every weekend. It could be baseball, it could be dance, it could be everything, but the goal is to be sure this event center bring some players. The players went with the parents, so we have a lot of people coming here, spend 2-3 days, they sleep in the hotel, they eat to the restaurant. This event center is close to the mall, so they can use the parking, and they negotiate with the city 20 years without tax. After 20 years, they renovate the building and they give for free to the city. Before it was only wood. Now it's 50% wood, 50% Taraflex. Why? Because when you speak about indoor sport, Pierre, you mentioned that, the female sport. Volleyball, 82% of the players are female. We bring some American customers to the Olympic Games. They don't want to go to the final of the men. They want to see the final of the women. Okay. But you see the different mentality? But we play with that.
As a basketball fan myself, I can't wait for you guys to make some inroads, because one of the things, for those of you that also follow basketball, the intensity level has gone it's so much more intense than it was a few years back. And that translates into many more injuries, and significant injuries for star players, which is a big problem for the NBA, because you want your star players to be on the floor every night they're playing. And there's Achilles's, ruptured Achilles's, all sorts of significant problems that set these players back months, if not years. So I know you guys can, because you have the innovation chops inside the organization. It's just harder in basketball because of, I would say, tradition and the way things are sort of set right now in the US. Would you mind speaking to that?
So yes, basketball. So it's not mainly Taraflex, is a different brand of the group. So it's a Connor Sport. And more or less the US market, we have 4 or 5 big producers of wood. And they made a sort of mafia, we said, because, for example, they made a sort of organization. All the wood have to come from a latitude, I don't remember the latitude, but it's the north of USA, to cut typically sort of wood for the gym floor. So that means you push away all the competitors. So they captive this US market, but they don't have any differentiation, I will say, about the quality of the materials. The wood is wood, so it's difficult. They make the differentiation with some sub-construction, safety difference, but not only, they play on the design, they play on the color. Also
customization, design customization is a big
exactly.
one, right?
But the way for us is an example, because now we have the same request for the Taraflex, for the volleyball. That means they follow the example of the basketball. So the designs start to be crazy. Maybe.
I'd like us to move to the next topic, but before we do that, do you mind cueing the second video, please?
Yes. belle, hein?
Did I see that you guys have installed the 100th?
100, it was 2 years ago. Now we are between 150 to 200. Division 1, we have 300 club, 300 college, 2/3 play on Taraflex. So the people say Taraflex, but they don't say vinyl. The rest is wood. Well, they say wood, they don't say Connor, they said wood. Here they speak about Taraflex.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it's not finished. So we start with Division 1. Why we start? 10 years ago, zero. We don't sell anything. We get a phone call from the coach of Nebraska. Nebraska is the top 5 in the college. And the coach asked us, is it possible to buy Taraflex? So he asked that because all the international competition play on Taraflex. The Olympics, the World Championship, and so on. We said yes. Of course. But the problem was that, as you see, business model, we go to the flooring contractor, permanent installation. Here is a portable installation. They play in the stadium of basketball. They put the Taraflex on the top of the wood of the basketball. You cannot do anything with the basketball. You have to protect the basketball. So it's a portable. First thing is portable, okay. The second thing, so we found some solution. It's just a question of money. So portable. The second thing was, okay, we need some colors. We have a big range of colors. But no, each college has a specific color, a number of patents, so make a special production. We can do that. You represent some money. So the benefits of Taraflex about the factory were quite flexible. That means they ordered 200 square meters, minimum quantity is 400 square meters. Okay, some waste for France is managed that, we double the price. Price is not a problem. Price is not a problem. Price is not a problem. So we do that. After that, logo. You see all the logo? We never did that. So we found a company who makes the logo for the wood. They said, well, wood or PVC is the same things? No, it was not the same thing. So it was a nightmare. After that, we decided to manage that. So now we have a dedicated place. Some people visited that. Dedicated place in Bolingbrook in the warehouse for the volleyball. So we cut the rolls, we make the logo, and so on and so on. The logo, for example, when you paint it, we discover we cannot paint in one pass. If you make one pass, it's quite thick. You see the roll, we unroll. We roll, we unroll. So it's quite thick, the paint doesn't stay. If you make a very thin layer, you make sometimes for different colors, you have to make 3-4 layers, but very thin, it works. So for this business, we gave 5 years warranty. And we were surprised to see some college come back to us 6-7 years later and said, okay, we want a new one. Quality problem? No, we just want to change the logos, the color, and so on. So these people, they don't keep the project. Permanent project, 20 years. College, 6-7 years. And now the next thing is quite interesting because the basketball is like this. You see the court. Volleyball like this. And you have the court of volleyball just in the middle. So now we get some order. Okay, one outside court. But here we want 4 different inside court. That means for 2 games, they have the version 1. The next 2 games, version 2. And the version 2 is different colors. So that means the players have different jerseys. So that means the shop make a different merchandising. And boom, it's more business. Yeah. We learn a lot in USA. We learn a lot, could you imagine? So because the college play on Taraflex, the club want Taraflex. Clubs, we come back to permanent installation, we know how it works. Now the high school also want Taraflex. And remember to you, when we speak about the core business, is elementary, middle school. We never go to the high school because it was wood, basketball. But now the high school play on volleyball. So it's not only wood, they want Taraflex. Boom, boom, boom. And now what happens? In 2 years and a half, LA 28. We spent a lot of time in LA. They will play volleyball and handball on Taraflex. It's official. Now we spent a lot of time because Paris, well, I come back to Paris. Paris National Olympic Committee make a selection of different cities who can welcome the different foreign delegation for volleyball and handball. They need some place when they have to be alone. They can make some training, make some strategies. They don't want to see. They don't want to know that competitors can see them. LA, they're not good about that. They don't have any place. So for the volleyball, we went to the college where they have some Taraflex. We speak about the opportunity for them to welcome some foreign delegation. I have a wonderful call last week with Céline, I think, and Audrey from New York. It looks that the consulate in Los Angeles get a request from the French Federation of Volleyball. Please find some place for us when you can make some training. We are ready to help. So that's for volleyball. But handball, nobody knows handball here. The problem with the handball, the size is 1,000 square meters. Basketball, 500 square meters. Volleyball, 400 square meters. They don't have place here. So they need a place for make the training. You have 40 teams will come for Olympic Games, 20 male, 20 female, where they can make some training. We speak with the college, with the volleyball. They have some big field house. They can put 3 volleyball. 3 volleyball is just a handball size. But the people are very interesting. They don't ask us to help them. They ask us, what will be the cost?
Price is not a problem, right?
No, but could you imagine? I'm not very young now, but it's wonderful for me to be in USA. This timing, Olympic Games, Taraflex, volleyball. Oh, it's wonderful. It's great.
Thank you for that. Let's move on to ESG. So can you speak to us about what Gerflor has done historically and is doing in that sector? And we have, I think, a slide to kind of give us some numbers there.
So that's the next innovation. When you speak about sustainability, our product now is very big in Europe. So you don't have the choice. You have to be really on the top of that. And you can see what we are doing at this moment here in Europe. So the slide came from Europe. So in USA, we try to translate our business in education, sport, healthcare, everything. 70% is renovation. 70% is retrofit. So that means the decider is the end user with some internal architect. So sustainability is not so big. When you speak about the 30% of new construction, you go through some very key architect. Is that here? They speak about that. Vinyl is forbidden in USA concerning some key market. And so we have to find the way to educate these people about, yes, we have some problem, but yes, we are improving. And if you compare the vinyl with some different resilient materials, like rubber, for example, rubber is more dangerous than PVC and so on, you have to make some rules. So far, we are very good in Europe. In Europe, they have a wonderful standard. It's not here. It's called REACH. REACH is a program to improve your product every 2 years, but you know in advance. So every 2 years, in 2 years, I have to cancel these materials in my product. In 4 years, this one. In 6 years, this one. And so it pushes you to improve very quickly. It works very well. In USA, we communicate about this number. For example, if you take the Taraflex for volleyball, our number here is 58%. 34% is recycled, and 24% is non-fossil product. So 24 plus 34, you go to 58. We are the only one. We are number one. Again, in innovation, new innovation. We put that in the specification. I mentioned the safety, ASTM. But we push that in the specification about new construction because we are alone. So it's a way also to make a differentiation. But you see the goal? We have to go to 75 for everything. So that's also 2030. That's also really important in Gerflor to go to this direction and to show what we can do. We have to educate. I come back to USA about the architect. When they said no vinyl. So we work with different sort of lobby, but working with the people which are very well known on the US market to try to explain, to convince them about the differentiation, about the different product, and to communicate about that. So we found the way, win sometimes, to educate the people about what is not good, what is good, what is a compromise, and so on. For example, we spoke about Japan. To be green in Japan, you put some PVC for the gym flooring because you don't cut the tree. So, if we don't have any vinyl, you have to consume a lot of also natural product. So we have to work on it. We know that, and we change different things already. In Europe, they are very well in advance, but again, completely different mentality.
Thank you. I have another question. I'd like you to speak about your portfolio of brands, because Gerflor is actually a bunch of different brands. So can you speak to us about maybe the major ones and sort of in what spaces they exist?
But you see now, if in USA we have 400 millions, we have 20 company, 20 brand. We have some dance company. We have some wood Gerflor company. We have some distributors. We have you are producer of plastic tiles for the outdoor business. Plastic tile also for the garage. You know, the guys they want some beautiful car. They cannot accept that the car has on the concrete. So we have some tiles for that. So different company, different experience, different business model. So we try to merge all the logistics, the financials, human resource, but business model, the sales force, we keep separate.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. So your shared services, so finance, HR, are central,
Yes.
and then your business units, your brands, each basically are managed separately.
Yes. And sometimes we are in competition.
And sometimes in competition. Okay.
Sport courts, so that plastic tiles, before Taraflex, they were the only one NCAA suppliers for the volleyball. The same coach, they call us, may I buy Taraflex?
Nebraska?
They went to the NCAA, said, we don't want to play anymore to sport court, we want to play on Taraflex. Okay, they changed, but the two company was in the same group. So sport court, they don't like Taraflex. We love sport court. You know why? When you see a project with sport court, you know sooner or later, 2 years, it will be Taraflex. Don't repeat that.
Nobody heard that. I would like to open up for questions. Does anybody in the audience have a question? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just curious. I remember you said that you don't really care if competitor copy you with this floor. I think it's a Terraflex, right?
Yes.
So you don't file a patent, you just use brand to protect yourself? How do you do that?
We do.
Let me maybe repeat the question on the mic, so because we're recording this. So your question is, how do they deal with how much trademarking, patenting there is to protect their innovation? IP.
So it's patented, but you always have some way, to make some similar things. But for us, innovation is a way to communicate about innovation. And so far, for the main range of product, we are always on the front. So we are the original. By the way, the logo for Taraflex is the original. And as the original, always to make the first innovation. And yes, if they copy us 1 week later, is 1 week later. Is that enough for? We know that. That's the way, we have to always to go to the right direction. Don't forget, we have the people to communicate. That means even the message we can communicate on the market, definitely.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Any other?
So you're basically focused solely on indoor flooring. Have you ever tried to do outdoor? I'm sure some are way different because you don't do installations on the tennis court but like artificial turf. That's a little bit of an installation, I guess. Is there some markets you try to enter, or is it just so different? Obviously, whether
So the question again for the recording is: so your focus seems to be indoor courts. What are you doing to expand into outdoor courts?
You're right. It's a completely different business. It's a big business. The leader of outdoor business, turf, is a target field turf in USA. It's a really big one. The value of a project is 20 times, 30 times more than one project of Taraflex. So it's not easy to do that. Personally, I don't like this business. In Europe, I touched a little bit about that. The turf, I think, the future of the turf is not so positive because it's plastic. And you put 8,000 square feet of artificial grass to the one place. The second thing, you put some midfield, and it used to be rubber infield, came from the tires, recycled things, which is not good for the healthy. They stopped that in Europe 20 years ago. Here, they're still using that. They have a lot of recycled rubber which came from the tire, and with a lot of problem of chemical. I don't know if you have the experience when you go to the hotel, you go to the place, you can make some wet room and so on. We have this recycled rubber. You smell this bad. That's the problem of the product. For me, the future of the artificial grass is problem. The market is not so interesting also about the sales. All the suppliers are losing some money concerning the sales of the turf and the installation. But they have the market of the greenfields. That means every year they have to infill more, and now they have different quality with some things which is not dangerous, so they use natural things with cork, with different things to keep the humidity and to give some sport characteristic about the slippery and also a little bit shock absorption. So it's interesting, but again, I'm not sure about the future. I don't want to play on this business. If you make a mistake, the consequences are crazy. So I'm happy that Gerflor stay outside, but I'm not the decider. Maybe one day we'll buy some things outdoor. When you speak outdoor also you have the track and field. Track and field is interesting. And this one is good, but again, is a different business. The leader is Mondo. If we can compare Mondo and Gerflor, Mondo is Italian, they are very strong about this rubber, like we are very good about the vinyl. And yes, interesting. Mondo also supplies Olympic Games for track and field. We supply the Olympic Games for volleyball and handball. So we have some comparison like this. Okay, I'm sure I answered to your question, but.
Thank you. Another question, sir?
A couple questions. Who are your competitors? And where are these products made? Is everything made here in the United States, or are they made?
So two-part question. Who are Gerflor's competitors and where are the products manufactured?
Alors, when you speak about the sport in USA, I will say 70% is made in USA. The wood is made in USA. The plastic tile is made in USA. Tarflex is not made in USA. Tarflex is made in France. Tarflex, the name of Tarflex came from the name of the small city Tarflex. So it's the northwest of Lyon. And so this one is made in France. It was the first question.
Competitors.
Is the second question. Yes, we have a lot of competitors. So we have the biggest competitor is another French company. If you check about, yes, when you check about the different quality of the materials, we call that resilient materials. Vinyl came from France. The French are very good. You speak about rubber, Italian people and Spanish people. When you speak about resin with some recycled rubber on the back, Switzerland, Holland. When you speak about wood, USA. When you speak about linoleum, Germany. So following the different things, it gives you an idea. So the vinyl in USA, the second one is another French company, I will not give you the name. And after that came from Asia. So South Korea and China. But China less and less. The mentality in USA about Chinese product, they don't like it. I think it's their right. So it's going out. We have another manufacturer, the other manufacturer in Europe, from Hungary in Italy. But definitely the number one, number two represent, I would say, 80% of the sales. Both made in France.
We have time for one more question, if anybody wants to volunteer.
And just the last question, you don't have any issues with the tax importing the
tax issues. How do you...
Hey. No.
With money is not a problem.
No. Tariff. No. So I remember when the tariff. So it was in last year, in April, when we have the speech of the president, and just after we have part of an association called StarNet. As this StarNet is an association of flooring contractors. So 700 flooring contractors. So it's 3 days of presentation, booth to show the product, and I went there. It was just after that the tariff arrived, and all the customers understood the tariff was a problem for European people. They understood I am not from USA, with my accent. They were very aggressive with me. Why you are making some tax on the product? I cannot explain why. I cannot explain. I don't want to explain why. My colleague said, no, don't explain anything. Okay, so he was afraid. 6 months later, we make a second, the tariff change again. And I can tell you, at this time, everybody understood on the US market, he was not from Europe. He came from USA. Tariff, it was 15%, but 15% of the transfer price, of the cost from France. So yes, Europe learned some things, but we increased the price. I can tell you the foreign contractor increased the price. So in the end, the end user pay. And in renovation, it's not a problem. In new construction, the last things we install is the floor. If you want to save money, it's on the floor. When you speak about renovation, the first thing to renovate is the floor. That's why there's always a better floor than before. So 70% is the renovation, so it's okay. So far it's okay. We see some project, new construction postponed, but it was not due to our product, but about the steel, about something like this. But so far so good. If we compare with other industries, sometimes there are a lot of difficulties. We are lucky in our business, more or less it's okay. But you have always some challenge. COVID was a nightmare. Short labor, inflation, yes, tariff. But we are very flexible. We have some agility, so we manage that.
So, I don't know about you guys, but after listening to your presentation, I'm never, ever again thinking that flooring is boring. Thank you so much, Michel. I think you managed to do something which is very difficult. One is you're super knowledgeable and you're tons of fun, and I think for that you deserve a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I enjoy a lot. Thank you for that, guys. And if you have any questions, if you want to work with Gerflor, thank you, guys. Merci. Merci à toi. Ça va?